my band a couple times and it's been amazing. The crowds are great, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so I have been reading about your work, and I've read that you have released like 21 albums. It's madness, man.
Well,
and
you
it's
know,
just by your solo album.
I don't know how many I've released. I kind of lost count. Really, like, I don't count the records. I know I've been putting records out since 1989, and so I know there's a lot of them, definitely more than 20. And then, you know, there's some that are like kind of not under my name. Like I did a record in 2008 called Wilson Hawk. It was me, but we called it something different because it was a really different kind of record. It was more of like a Motown influence type thing. So if you count those records, probably it's definitely more than 20. I've been busy.
Yeah. Such a hard worker.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you know, it's not even. I don't look at it as work. You know, I mean, I hear things and I have ideas and I just kind of record them. So it's basically what I do.
Yeah, I have talked to so many musicians who said that playing music is not a job. The job is like going somewhere and, you know, the logistics behind.
Yeah, the traveling.
traveling.
You know, I actually posted something on my Instagram the other day. It was a joke, but I was sitting there on this tour. We had so many flights. I mean, you know, I've said it before, but it's like I don't feel like I get paid to do the show. I get paid to sit in the airport or sit on the bus, you know, and it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but it can be kind of trying after a while. So I think for me now, I've done a lot of touring lately. I think once I'm done with the album cycle with the Winery Dogs, I'll probably take a little bit of a break from touring. I'll still play out, you know, locally, but I think the whole touring thing, the way we do it, I think I need a big, long break from it. You know? Plus, I have a lot of new ideas for new songs, and I want to stay home and spend time, you know, recording. But it's good, you know, you have to have the balance. Back and forth.
Can you work while you're on the road?
Yeah, I have a little system that I take with me, and I've gotten some work done on the last couple of tours, and it's nice to have that. So yeah, I can. I've written songs. There's 2 songs actually that I released about a year ago. One called War Paint and one called Walk With Me. Both those songs I wrote while I was on tour, so I can write on the road. But you know, sometimes I like to stay in one place for an extended period of time, and then I can get into more of a flow. It's distracting when you have to keep moving, you know, and figuring out, don't forget this, don't forget that. So ultimately it's better to be in one place, you know, for me anyway. And it can be anywhere, but I just need to be in one place for an extended period of time to kind of get into a flow. So I'm not thinking about traveling, I'm thinking about just creating music. And ideas, you never know when they're going to hit. Like I have times where I'm in a restaurant and I'll suddenly get an idea and I'll run out and put it into my phone. I've woken myself up. I've learned to wake myself up from sleep when I hear an idea, because sometimes in the past I thought, oh, you'll remember that tomorrow, and I may have dreamt an idea for a song, and then I wake up and it's gone. So when that happens, I usually force myself to get up and go document it.
Now about the recording process. Do you always follow the same path, or change it every time?
It's the same path is that if I hear an idea, I usually roll with it, record it, and finish it. But it can come from anywhere. It can come from a guitar thing, or a vocal idea, or a lyric. The last song that I wrote, that I released, is a song called "This Is Life," and I put it on the internet. Initially, I put it on as a YouTube link, just so people could hear the song. And now it's available if people want to download it or stream it, it's out there. But that song was pretty interesting because when it was written, I went in my studio and I had a concept. I heard a melody and I heard the feel of the tune. And I went in and sat behind the drums and I just played the entire song on the drum set. And I didn't use a click or anything, so I didn't play anything. I just played the tune. And then I went back and I put the guitar on, and I put the bass on, and then I put a vocal on it, but I didn't have lyrics, so I just sang made up words, like, you know, a different language, you know, my own made up language. And so I laid it down, and then I had a song. Of course, I didn't have lyrics, but I had the structure and the form. And then months later, I went back to it and listened to it, and that's when I developed it and wrote the words and changed some of the melodies, and maybe I might have edited the arrangement a little bit. But that's kind of an interesting way to write, because when you hear the end result of that song, I think anyone that heard the end result would think I sat down and wrote it to piano, but I didn't. I wrote it on the drum set. And so the whole song was in my head. And so I was actually recording the drums while I was hearing the band in my mind, and then I went back and laid in everything. So, and I've done that before. So to answer your question, there's no strict formula. It's different every time.
Wow. And once you have a whole record, right? When do you know it's time to release it? Because once you release it, it's not yours only anymore.
Well, it's always mine because I'm the guy creating it, so I don't feel like it becomes not mine, and especially now because when I release my own stuff, I put it out myself, so I don't have to worry about, you know, someone's opinion at a record label or anything like that. So it's always mine. But as far as the record thing, I keep writing and recording, so I end up with a lot of stuff. And then when I feel like I have a collection of material that fits well together that I like, if I want to share it, then I'll turn it into a record and release it. But I don't really necessarily write with the end objective being a record. I write in the sense that I'm just going to write a song, I have an idea, I finish it, and then once I have enough of them that I like, then I know that I have a record. And then I start thinking in terms of a record and how things fit together, and maybe that song works, that one doesn't.
Okay, now talking about the live shows or live performances, how do you take this the magic that happens in the studio to a stage? I mean,
yeah. Well, it gets reinterpreted based on the variables that I have at my disposal. So I tend to perform as a trio, and it's something that's worked well for me my entire career, and it gives me a lot of freedom because when I get on stage, my focus, I don't like the idea of just reproducing what I did in the studio, because I feel like I already did that in the studio. So then just do the same thing again live, I feel like an argument can be made that you're better off just listening to the record and looking at pictures. So when I perform live, I want that to be something unto itself. And so if you come to see my band, we do a lot of improv and changing arrangements right on the spot. And Mike and Dylan, the guys I'm playing with now, are so great at following me. I almost don't like, my cues are so subtle. It can be just a look and a gesture, and they listen so well. And we just do stuff. You know, it's just fun. I can't describe it. So what happens is they learn my songs, and then we reinterpret them. And so certain things that work in the studio because maybe I use other instrumentation that I don't have live, we reinterpret it so that it works as a three-piece. And so that's fun for me. And I think that people that come to see me know that and expect that, and I think they kind of get off on it too.
So chemistry plays such an important role.
It's really important, you know, who you're playing with. It's so important. I've played with so many great musicians, lousy musicians, you name it, across the board, famous musicians and not so famous musicians. So I really am in tune with what I like, what I don't like, what actually makes me perform better. I mean, there's things, you can play with musicians that may be great at something, but when you play with them, they cause you to sound horrible because you don't play together. You're almost playing against each other. And that's an unpleasant experience. So I like to pick musicians that have a voice of their own, that I can learn stuff from. Like again, like the guys in my band are jazz, have a jazz background, like straight ahead, you know, jazz, which I don't really have that background. I played in those situations. I played with Stanley Clarke in many ways and kind of flirted at that thing. And so I have a little understanding of it, but these guys kind of grew up playing it. So that adds a whole other element to our improv. And so that's exciting to me. So it's really important to who I'm playing with. And that helps make me sound better.
So you have a signature guitar.
I do, yeah, it was Fender.
Yeah, beautiful. I have seen it. I haven't played it yet.
Oh, you have to play it.
Yeah, I know. So tell me about, the next thing on your agenda. I mean, what's next for you?
Well, it's hard to say because I don't really know what's going to happen next. But if all goes according to plan, I've got some more shows lined up with the winery folks. Not too many, actually. We're winding down. We're about to finish our album cycle. And then once that finishes, I think our last show is July 10th in San Antonio. And then once that's done, I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess I would say I'm probably going to spend time figuring out what I'm going to do with all this new music and start recording it properly. And then eventually, hopefully, I'll come to a point where I have enough songs that I like and I'll make a record. And then once I make my record, I'll go out and do more shows with my band. But I just have no idea when that'll happen.
Looks like the coolest cycle,
It's cool, I like, what I love is I'm in a really great position over the last couple of years where I can kind of do everything on my terms, which has always been my fantasy, would be to be able to have a career in music but do things the way I want. Because the problem I've had in my career since the beginning, I have never been in a position to do exactly what I want creatively until more recent times when the internet kind of opened up to where I didn't need a record label, and so I could make my own record, release it myself, and people that were interested could get it. Once that started happening, and I think I could say it started happening like around 2006, I put a record out called Into the Black, which was like the first time I really just did whatever the hell I wanted and didn't have to listen to someone. Because when you're with a record label and they're investing money, ultimately they have a set, which is really bad because you got a situation where people that don't even know how to tune the guitar are telling you like what they think you should do because that's what they think people are going to like. It's such a fucked up, twisted scenario that I've hated and I've been held hostage to since I started. And so now finally I don't have that element, which I love it. I can really be true to what it is that I am. And in doing that, I've noticed I'm getting more positive reactions from people. I'm playing in larger venues. More people are interested in what I do. And that's because what I'm doing is way more honest and true to who I am, and people can read that. The minute you try to fit into a box of sorts, I think you set yourself up for some problems, at least personally. It's definitely personally. A lot of frustration. You set yourself up for a lot of artistic frustration.
Yeah, it's a crazy world when suits rule music.
Yeah, but they don't anymore. They really don't. And it's great. I really think they have less power than ever. And it's not like all of them are evil. They're not all evil. There's a handful of guys that really know what they're doing. But now I like it right now. I like the way it is because there's a lot of freedom for artists to really get their music heard and do it. You don't need a record label.
Perfect.